They called you distracted. They called you impulsive. They called you broken. From the moment you opened your eyes to this world, they tried to tame your storm. They told you to sit still when your mind was meant to run. They told you to listen when your thoughts were already 10 miles ahead. You were born in motion. But they built a world made for pause, and because you could not fit into their rhythm, they labeled you wrong. They pointed fingers at your restlessness, your chaos, your inability to conform. They handed you a label like a sentence, ADHD, as if the spark in your skull was a malfunction, as if the speed of your mind was a disease. But here is the truth they never dared to say. You were never broken. You were built differently. You are a thunderstorm in a world addicted to drizzle. You are the wildfire that terrifies the timid. Your thoughts crash, collide, and create galaxies while others still light a candle. And because they could not understand your power, they chose to fear it. They told you focus, as if your mind was lazy, as if your spirit could be chained by instructions and timetable. But your mind isn't wandering. It's exploring. It's scanning 1,000 possible realities at once. Where others see one door, you see infinite exits. The classroom was never built for you. The workplace was never designed for minds that burn brighter than the clock allows. You were never meant to sit quietly under fluorescent lights, memorizing rules written by people too afraid to break them. You were meant to build new worlds, not fit inside old ones. And yet they made you believe your difference was your downfall. They made you apologize for your fire, so you tried to dim it. You tried to be calm, still, predictable, but inside something screamed, because every time you forced yourself to fit, something inside you died. They called it distraction, but it was your mind seeking something real. They called it impulsive, but it was your heart refusing to waste time on meaningless noise. They called it a disorder, but it was the universe saying you were designed for more. The world sees your scattered focus as weakness. But tell me, how do you think innovation is born? How do you think revolutions begin? By people who color inside the lines? No. By people who see beyond them. You are not unfocused. You are multi-focused. Your brain is a prism. It does not see one color. It refracts the whole spectrum. You do not follow a single thought. You chase constellations. Your energy is not chaos. It is creation waiting for command. And here's the twist they will never understand. The very thing they call your flaw is your superpower. It is the reason you notice what others ignore. The reason your curiosity cuts deeper. The reason your empathy bleeds through walls. Because when your mind is moving faster than the world, you see what no one else can. You are not the broken one in the back of the classroom. You are the unrecognized genius they could not categorize. And one day the same world that called you too much will call you ahead of your time. Because ADHD was never the enemy. It was evolution choosing to accelerate. And you were chosen to carry that speed. So the question is not how do I slow down? The real question is what could happen if I finally aimed this energy instead of apologizing for it. Because the moment you stop trying to be like them and start building like you, the storm will no longer destroy. It will create. Your energy isn't random. It's waiting for purpose. And once it finds direction, nothing and no one will be able to stop you. You start to see it now. The cracks in their definitions. The lies hidden beneath their comfort. They called it attention deficit, but you never had a deficit of attention. You had too much of it. Your mind is a floodlight in a world addicted to candles. You don't lack focus. You drown in it. You feel everything, see everything, hear the heartbeat of the room before anyone else does. You were not made to focus on one thing. You were made to feel the pulse of everything. And that is terrifying to them. Because if your mind can dance between 1,000 ideas in seconds, you cannot be controlled. You cannot be boxed. You cannot be programmed to follow the script of a slower world. They see chaos. You see patterns in motion. They see distraction. You see possibility in every direction. You are not scattered. You are symphonic. Each thought, each impulse, each spark is an instrument in a grand composition that only you can hear. And yet you were taught to silence it, to tone it down, to take the pills, to stop being so much. But here is the revelation they never gave you. You are not too much. You are too awake. You feel deeply because your nervous system is wired for awareness. You act quickly because your intuition fires faster than logic can catch up. You lose focus not because you are weak, but because your mind rejects anything that lacks purpose, passion, or depth. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's filtering noise. It's saying this isn't real. This doesn't matter. And when something does matter, when something ignites your soul, you lock in. You hyper-focus. Time disappears. The world melts away. And for those few hours you become unstoppable. That is not disorder. That is divine design. Einstein had it. Da Vinci had it. Edison, Tesla, Jobs. All carried the same restless brilliance that could never sit still. They were called distracted, obsessive, impulsive, but the world now calls them visionary. What you call difficulty focusing is the same mechanism that lets you hyper-lock onto a goal until it bends to your will. What you call impulsivity is your ability to act while others hesitate. What you call chaos is creative voltage, and once you learn to ground it, it powers everything. You do not need to be cured. You need to be understood. You do not need medication to silence your brilliance. You need meaning to direct it, because once you align your storm with a purpose that deserves it, it stops destroying your peace and starts building your empire. You were never meant to walk the straight road. You were meant to fly between dimensions of thought. You are not lost. You are exploring. You are not unstable. You are limitless energy searching for a worthy outlet. And maybe that is why the world feels small to you. Maybe that is why jobs bore you, routines suffocate you, rules enrage you, because you were never meant to obey. You were meant to create. Your brain doesn't need fixing. It needs freedom. Freedom to chase ideas like storms. Freedom to build new systems instead of fitting into broken ones. Freedom to feel life in its rawest form. Unfiltered, untamed, alive. The world doesn't need another calm follower. It needs more minds like yours, wild, fast, electric, untamed, the ones who make history uncomfortable, because evolution does not move forward through compliance. It moves forward through disruption, and disruption is your native language. So stop asking, how can I be normal? Start asking, how can I use this power to reshape the world? Because when you stop running from your fire, you realize it was never meant to burn you. It was meant to forge you. You are not a malfunction in the system. You are the update the system was not ready for. The upgrade that terrifies mediocrity. The new operating frequency of the human mind. And once you start believing that, you stop hiding your power. You start mastering it. But even after you glimpse your power, the world still pulls you back, because the system isn't built for minds like yours. It's built to tame them, to slow them, to sedate brilliance until it behaves. You were told to fit the mold, so you tried. You tried to sit quietly, to plan like they plan, to follow the steps, tick the boxes, repeat the cycle. And every time you did, something inside you died. A little more. You woke up exhausted, not because your body was tired, but because your spirit was suffocating. You spent your days pretending to be calm, while your mind screamed for chaos, creation, motion. And the cruelest part, you started believing them. You started to think maybe they were right, maybe you were lazy, maybe you were broken, maybe you just were not enough. That's the trap of comparison. You compare your rhythm to theirs, forgetting you were born with a different drumbeat. They run in straight lines. You move in lightning strikes. They follow maps. You make constellations. They walk through doors. You break through walls. But when the world rewards conformity, rebellion feels like failure. So you punish yourself for being different, not realizing your difference is the doorway to your destiny. Here is the truth. You cannot measure a hurricane with a ruler. You cannot weigh thunder on a scale, and you cannot judge a mind like yours by the standards of those afraid to dream. They told you to calm down, to slow down, but when you do, the world did. You lose the very spark that makes you alive. You start living in grayscale when you were born to paint in fire. You're not inconsistent, you're interdimensional. You don't lose focus. You shift universes. You don't forget. You explore deeper levels of memory others will never touch. Your brain doesn't run on linear code. It runs on instinct and electricity. Your attention is not broken. It's selective evolution. It tunes out mediocrity and tunes into what matters. But here's the brutal truth. If you don't learn to direct it, your gift becomes your curse. Because every superpower without control becomes self-destruction. You will chase too many dreams at once, start too many fires, burn too brightly without purpose, and you'll collapse under your own brilliance. This is where most people with your fire fall. They drown in their own waves because no one taught them how to surf. But listen closely. This is the turning point. The storm inside you is not meant to be silenced, it's meant to be steered. Focus is not the absence of distraction, it is the command of attention. It is learning to choose which battle your storm will fight today. Once you learn that, you become dangerous, unstoppable. Because when a mind like yours learns control, it stops being noise and becomes music. You stop reacting, you start creating, you stop chasing everything, you start building one thing that changes everything. This is how chaos becomes clarity. This is how the misunderstood become the master. The truth is, ADHD isn't a problem, it's potential raw, untamed. Burning potential, the kind of potential that built civilizations, the kind that wrote symphonies, painted revolutions, created worlds. You are not your failure, you are not your unfinished projects, your forgotten deadlines, your messy desk. You are the engine beneath it all, a storm waiting for direction. And now it's time to learn how to aim it, because the moment you decide to channel that energy instead of fighting it, you stop surviving your mind and start commanding it. You wake up one day, and something shifts. It is not peace. It is clarity. You stop asking what's wrong with me, and you start asking what if this is my design. You realize your brain was not meant to obey orders. It was meant to lead revolutions. You were not born to survive routine. You were born to reinvent it. And that is where mastery begins, not with control but with understanding. You learn that your energy is not infinite. You must aim it like a blade. So you start cutting away what drains you. Pointless jobs, empty conversations, the people who say calm down when your soul says rise up. You stop chasing everything. You start pursuing what sets your blood on fire. Because passion is your medicine, discipline is your armor, and purpose is your North Star. You stop fighting your storm, you become it. You learn that your impulses are not the enemy. They are the spark of intuition. You realize that structure is not your prison. It is your launch pad, and that every second you feel restless, it's the universe whispering, you are built for more. So you build systems around your storm, small rituals that ground you, lists, calendars, timers, not cage you, but but to channel your voltage. You design your environment like a conductor designs a symphony. You put your tools where your impulses lead. You stop trying to fight distraction and start guiding it. You use curiosity as your compass. You follow the threads of obsession until they weave something extraordinary, and then focus happens naturally, because focus was never your weakness. It was your reward for finding something that deserves you. The world calls it hyperfocus. You call it flow, that sacred space where time disappears and genius awakens. When your mind locks in, creation becomes effortless. That is your gift. That is your frequency. Others need external motivation to start. You only need one spark of meaning, and once it ignites, you can move mountains overnight. You start to master your rhythm. You work in bursts, in waves, in lightning strikes. You stop apologizing for needing breaks. You stop comparing your path to those who walk. You run differently. Because your brain is not lazy. It's cyclical. It operates in surges of intensity. And those surges are sacred. You learn that rest is not weakness. It is recharge. Because when you return like thunder. You master time by refusing to be its slave. You stop measuring productivity in hours and start measuring it in impact. Because 1 hour of your fire is worth 10 hours of their routine. You become strategic with your chaos. You plan your storms. You harness emotion, channel focus, weaponize imagination. And when the world sees the results, they no longer call it disorder. They call it genius. You start to see how your past failures were never proof of weakness. They were training grounds. Every unfinished project taught you how to begin again fast. Every moment of distraction taught you what doesn't matter. Every impulsive choice taught you how to trust your intuition. You are not a mistake to be corrected. You are an instrument to be tuned. And now you are learning to play yourself like a symphony. You feel the noise in your mind becomes music. The chaos becomes choreography, and the world once too slow for you now starts to move with you. That is mastery, when you no longer fight who you are but build with it. You are no longer the storm that destroys, you are the storm that creates new world. And now look at you, the same person they called broken is building empires out of the fragments. The same mind they called too much is creating movements too powerful to ignore. You've turned what they feared into fuel. You've weaponized your difference. You've mastered the storm, and now you are ready to teach others how to dance in the rain. Because the truth is, this was never just about you. It was about everyone who was ever told they were wrong for feeling deeply, for thinking differently, for living loudly in a world addicted to. You were meant to go first, to fall, to burn, to rise, so that others could see the map hidden inside your scars. Now you are the proof that the misunderstood can become the masters, that a restless mind can build peace through purpose, that what they call impossible is just your starting line. You no longer chase validation, you embody transformation. You move like purpose wearing human form. You think in symphonies, speak in sparks, and build in silence. You don't just adapt, you evolve. And with every project, every idea, every fire you light, you reshape the narrative of what it means to be human. You've learned that ADHD is not a cage, it is a key that unlocks depth, creativity and resilience, a key that opens doors no one else can even see. You were not born to fit the world, you were born to upgrade it. And now that you've seen your power, you can never go back to pretending you're ordinary. Because ordinary minds build walls, extraordinary ones build the future. You begin to use your energy not to escape life, but to elevate it. You become the bridge between chaos and creation, between imagination and innovation. You stop fearing your fire and start using it to light the path for others still lost in the dark. You show them that this restless energy, this relentless mind, this never-ending search for meaning is not a disorder. It is the engine of evolution. You teach them that discipline is not the enemy of creativity. It is its spine. That passion without structure burns out, but purpose with structure burns forever. You build routines that protect your brilliance. You master emotions that once ruled you. You become the architect of your own story. And one day when someone looks at you and says you've changed, you'll smile and answer, "No, I've finally become who I was always meant to be." Because mastery isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about unleashing what was hidden. It's not about control, it's about command. You've turned sensitivity into strength, impulsivity into intuition, restlessness into revolution. And now you move through life like a force of nature, unapologetic, unstoppable, uncontainable. You no longer fight your mind, you lead it. You no longer fear distraction, you direct it. You no longer crave normalcy, you crave greatness. And the world will remember you, not as the distracted one, not as the impulsive one, but as the visionary who refused to bow to limitation. Your legacy will not be quiet. It will roar in every mind you awaken. It will live in every soul that finally realizes they were never broken either. Because of you, others will stop apologizing for their fire. Because of you, the misunderstood will begin to rise. Because of you, the word disorder will no longer mean defect. It will mean different, and different is where the future begins. You are the living proof that the world evolves through defiance, that evolution chooses those who cannot sit still, that the future belongs to the ones who can't stop dreaming. So the next time they tell you to slow down, smile and accelerate, because ADHD was never your curse, it was your upgrade. And now that you have learned to master it, you are not just surviving existence, you are redefining it. So rise, creator. Rise, dreamer. Rise, storm bearer. Your fire was never meant to be tamed. It was meant to transform the world. Now go, unleash it. You are the storm.